From the WAQB studios in Saginaw, Michigan, it's Michigan Alive, proclaiming the gospel to the Great Lakes Bay region and mid-Michigan area, giving glory to the Lord in word and in song on Michigan Alive.
Praise God. We're so glad that you tuned in today. You will not be sorry. Now, if you're a surfer like some people I know personally, of course, present company is excluded, you're wanting to put that button right now. Drop it. Step away from the remote. You don't want to miss. This will be one of the most impactful hours that you've spent all day and possibly all week. We've got a wonderful opportunity to talk about the power of God, the promises of God, the prophetic utterance of God, and the penetrating ability of God to get into a circumstance and completely alter it. You don't want to miss this. I know that you're probably sitting there right now facing some situations and some circumstances that are just so huge and so wide, you actually need a bridge to get over this thing. And we're talking about bridges in a very special way here today. Got a very special guest with us today, and she's written a very powerful book. It's called The Bridge Between Cell Block A and a Miracle is Psalms 91. Let's welcome Jackie Carpenter to the show today. Hi, Jackie.
Thank you for having me.
How you doing? We're so glad to have you here. Now, you got to tell me, what is this bridge between Cell Block A and a Miracle is Psalms 91? What does that mean?
That, you know, God gave me that before he gave me the book. And what he showed me, it's a defining point between the lowest point in my life and the highest point in my life and what connected the two. And during this ordeal, Psalm 91 was my life support because literally, mentally, physically, emotionally, I was dying because of what my son was going through. My son was incarcerated for 9 days, falsely accused of murder. And that was the lowest point of my life.
Falsely accused of murder. Mm-hmm. This happened. Now, your son is Jason.
My son is Jason.
Pronounce that last name for me again.
Veitch.
Veitch.
Mm-hmm.
He's been accused of murder.
Right.
And now give me some background. How do you get accused of murder and you didn't do it?
Falsely accused.
Falsely accused.
Yeah. It was 6 months. He was called to preach in December of 2007. And 6 months after that, he's a builder, and he was a victim of copper theft. And copper theft had really become a big thing in our town with all the builders. They were all suffering from it, not just my son, but my son had a lot of construction going on, so I guess he was suffering more than some. But each time that he was robbed of copper, it was costing him like approximately $6,000. So it was getting desperate out there, and he had filed numerous police reports, and he just could not get help. I mean, he tried so hard. He exhausted every avenue he could to try to get help with it. And on one afternoon, Friday afternoon, June 27th, 2008, a deputy met my son down at the construction site to try to help him figure out a way to catch who was doing this. And he suggested several things, and one were deer cameras, and they came to realize that wasn't the answer because it would have taken like 32 and it was still just hit and go. So he had suggested maybe teenagers hiding out, watching the houses, scare them away, beat them up, and Jason knew he couldn't do that because if someone got hurt, he was liable.
Right.
And that just was nothing he could do. So, but the deputy told him, Jason, I will tell you this. Law enforcement does not have manpower to watch your houses. And, you know, unless you catch everyone who's doing this yourself, they're not going to get caught. And he said, you are permitted. You can make what is called a citizen's arrest.
Okay.
You can make a citizen's arrest.
Which includes what now?
Which he went on to lay it all out for Jason that, Jason is a perfectionist, and before he does anything, he really studies it. He wants to know every aspect of it. And he told him, you are allowed to have a gun to hold them at gunpoint if need be. However, I suggest you hide in the woods, watch the houses. If anyone shows up, call the police, stay in the woods, let them handle it. That sounds so easy to do. I mean, that's his plan. That's what he was going to do. But Jason said, what if? What if I'm in the woods? And what if they're trying to get away? What can I do to keep them from getting away? He said, well, you can come out of the woods. You can hold them at gunpoint. My suggestion, he told Jason, is to tie their hands and feet to one of the studs inside of the under construction house and just wait for the police to get there. Either way, it all sounded simple. We hoped it wouldn't come to the latter.
But wait a minute. Jason's by himself, and these thieves, is it one thief or two thieves?
He didn't know. He was in the woods not expecting anybody to show up. They'd already been there 3 times in 1 week.
I'm thinking about the counsel from this policeman. That you pop out of the woods, you got this gun, and let's say there's 2 of them. How do you tie a guy up holding a gun on 2?
Okay. Well, number one, he didn't expect anybody to show up. And come Monday, he was going to hire a full-time security guard to help him.
Okay.
This was just for the weekend. He didn't want to do this, but he had to. He felt he had to because the place had been robbed, the subdivision, 3 times in 1 week. So he was really just going to watch. And if anyone showed up, call the police and let them handle it. Just try to help the police department. But what happened was it didn't go the way he planned. And
was there a scuffle?
At 12:45 in the morning, he saw a white van go by. And he became probably awake and alert. He was probably half asleep, and he saw this, and it was a dead-end road. And he thought, uh-oh. So he sat up, and they went down, and they turned around and came back. But they went by. So he thought, oh, thank goodness. But he saw their brake lights. And he thought, oh, God, don't let them be coming back. And no sooner than he got up to full attention, they did come back, and he was sitting in the woods, and they did come back, and they turned right into the driveway, and they pulled right around so their headlights was right on him in the woods. And he was scared to death.
Wait a minute. They come back, and so Jason's got this deer in the headlights look.
Yes, he did.
And the high beams or the truck beams are right on him. And he's sitting. He's sitting
on a little bucket in the woods.
On a little bucket in the woods. Now, did they see him?
He thought they did.
Okay.
He thought they did. But when the headlights hit him, he fell off. And he fell off on the ground.
Okay.
And he was, as he told me, Mom, I was so scared I couldn't find my cell phone, He was just scared. But he called 911, and he told the operator to send the police. He was told the police were going to be patrolling the area because they knew he was going to be doing this.
Okay. Were they?
No. No. The deputy said, I will alert the police. They will be patrolling. And it sounded so simple. They're going to be patrolling. Just call them on over here. But the 911 operator did call, and they were not in the area. They were on the other side of town. And when they tried to find the place where Jason was, they got lost. And so Jason, after he called the operator, he called his father-in-law, who lives 10 minutes away. And he said, Billy knew he was there too. And he said, Billy, they're back. He was whispering. He thought he didn't want him to hear him. And Billy said, Jason, do you want me to come over there? And Jason said, yes. He thought the police would get there first, but his father-in-law did. And his father-in-law pulled up behind him, and he don't have guns. And he got out of his truck, and he walked up to the van. And Jason couldn't just sit in the woods and watch his father-in-law in the line of fire. So, because Jason had no clue who was in the van, 1, 10, he didn't know. So he came out of the woods, and he fired a warning shot. It was a double-barrel shotgun. And he fired a warning shot so they wouldn't hurt Billy. And he came around, and Billy was on one side of the van, and Jason was on the other, and they ordered him out. And things got bad.
These guys had not done anything yet, though, right?
No.